Hey, it's a great day in camp and we're sharing our savory onion French bread. You ain't gonna wanna miss this because it is some kind of that delicious. Hey, welcome into camp. My name is Kent Rollins and welcome to some cowboy cooking. What we do here, we do a whole lot of grilling, we do a whole lot of Dutch oven cooking, tell you how to take care of cast iron. After we did our fall favorite soups last week, I was telling Shannon we didn't have nothing to sop in the gravy that was left in there and dip in there. We're gonna do Shannon's Savory Onion Bread. So folks, if you're cooking this outside like we are today or you're in the house, Shannon's got you covered because the recipe will be listed down below. So what are we going to start with first? 2 cups of warm water. Yep, warm. You don't want it hot because hot water will kill yeast. Then what always kickstarts some yeast? Some sugar. So let's put 2 tablespoons of sugar. Uno and dos. And what goes to that? A package of dry yeast. And folks, if you're cooking, always remember if you're cooking with some yeast, proof it first. You know what I'm talking about. Put it in a little warm water there, stir it up, watch it froth a little. So let me get this stirred up so it can get to activation. Folks, not only do you check the date on them yeast packages, but when you proof it, if it doesn't bubble up, hey, throw that out and get you some more because your bread ain't gonna rise. Well, it's time for some salt, folks. And that right there is 1 teaspoon. I guarantee you, as Justin Wilson would say. Then we're going to use what? 3 teaspoons of olive oil. Here we go, folks. I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. And while y'all wasn't here to see me, I done took me a tablespoon of butter, onion, and sauteed them in my little Dutch oven over because it brings out so much more flavor, folks, when you go ahead and do that instead of just chunking them in there raw. So I'm going to add them to it. Well, we got everything incorporated well, so let's get in the all-purpose flour can here. So let's gently put them in there. So we're going to add a little more because we want to get this into a soft ball and not too sticky. And we are about there. Well, we got it to a ball there, folks. We're going to cover it, set it over here by Bertha or in a warm spot wherever you might be. Folks, we're going to let this rise. We want it to about double in size, and then we're going to get after it because I am getting hungry. So, folks, look who ventured into camp, run around behind the camera and got all kinds of gadgets set up. I don't know what's happening, but we welcome you back over here, honey. It's all my pleasure to have you over here. And this is your recipe that you created, so who better to finish it than the boss? Ooh, it is so pretty. Y'all seen the unveiling over there. I do love me some bread.
And we're just going to really flour your surface, whatever you're working with, well. Go ahead and just dump the dough out, and it may be a little sticky as it sets, kind of some of that moisture comes out. So then at this point, give yourself a little more flour over the top, flour your hands, and then we're just going to knead it slightly, just a little bit, to get some of that, if there's any sticky left, get that out. You could just go ahead and form it into a regular loaf and put it in your like a flat pan, like if you're going to do it in the oven, or the way we're going to do it today makes it a little, jazzes it up a little bit.
I like jazz it.
We're going to braid it. We're going to pinch off 3 sections. And I'm pretty bad about like getting it even, but it'll be close.
Ooh, that looks pretty good to me.
And then just start pulling and rotating.
Huh.
See how I'm doing that?
This is like the people at Annie Ann's when they're making pretzels.
Is it?
Something like that. Mine ain't coming out quite like yours.
Well, and the thing is, this doesn't have to be pretty at this point because it's going to rise again and it's going to bake up, so it's fine. You don't have to get too technical. Just tailor this size to whatever baking apparatus you are doing it in or on. Bring the 3 points together and just kind of pinch them and then tuck it under just a little bit, okay? And then you just go to a regular braid. So move it and then braid it.
Ooh, now see, that's pretty.
At the other end, go ahead and pinch the side and then just tuck, or the ends, and then just tuck over, just slightly. Okay, so today we're going to do this in a 10-inch oven. Go ahead and give it a good grease. Easy go ahead and put her in there and like just, that got kind of, so you can see it's in there like so. We got to let it rise. We could let it rise like this and it'll just kind of rise together. Or if you want to keep this kind of donut shape, what do you got going on, Kent?
Well, folks, you got one of these here cup measures, ain't got no handle on it. If you got a handle on it, you ain't losing nothing, just break it off. Get you a tin can, soup can, but you got to grease it a little first because we're going to put some flour on it, and we don't want it to stick in nowhere.
We did this before in our
blueberry
morning cake. I'll link it above. You grease it, you flour it.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to be like any good bundt pan, and it didn't even cost $19.95 at TGNY. And it's just a fit.
Okay, put it right in there.
That's what you call MacGyverisms, Shin.
All right, we're gonna cover it. We're gonna stick it by Bertha because it's a little cool today. Yeah. That'll warm it. We'll kind of rotate it as go. If you're in the house, just stick it in a warm place.
Does this double in size again?
It's not gonna double in size, but it's gonna rise up a little bit. I'm gonna say maybe another 30 to 45 minutes.
Ooh, ain't that pretty, folks. But first, we're gonna have to put a little egg wash on there, which was 1 egg and a tablespoon of cold water. And we're gonna brush it right gingerly so we don't make none of it fall. We're gonna take us a poppy seed, dry minced garlic, dried minced onion. We're just gonna give it good sprinklings all the way around. On top, it is time to go to cooking. Now you can see how close that was to that lid. If we'd have had a 12, it would have been better, but this is gonna test my cooking expertise. We're gonna go really light on top because there is some microwave breeze blowing today. Well, we pretty light on top, got us a pretty light ring on the outside because there is some breeze about 15 miles an hour today. So we're gonna cook as slow as we can. And we'll have to adjust that heat on the top to where we may have to take it plumb off, then put it back right at the last, because we're gonna be bumping the lid on this rascal time it's done. So stick around, folks, it could get interesting. Now, if you didn't have a trivet and you was setting this right down there on the ground next to the coals, I would be probably about this far away from it because you're gonna generate some heat, and we need to cook this as slow as we can to get the maximum rise. Did y'all see that? This is gonna be one of them deals to where it gets really interesting. That hump side over there is really close to the fire, so we're gonna get rid of him, scatter these out just a little. That lid's gonna hold enough heat over there to cook that side time it's there, and we're gonna go ahead and rotate the bottom due to the wind. As you can see, folks, we done scooted them coals in. As they was cooling off, instead of adding coals out here to the outside edge of them, I'm just gonna scoot them in a little closer to that oven, and I'm gonna get all the good out of my heat. Well, folks, as them coals was beginning to blow out a little, we went and added some more around to about the same size circle that we had, just hotter coals. Also, we put a few more on top. Folks, this is gonna get really close to the top of that lid, so we started it out low and slow, and we're gonna try to keep it that way. I'm giving it a little more heat. Now, if you get to worrying that this might be a little too hot for you, you can always take this oven off the fire, let it go, set it back on, because that Dutch oven is still cooking because it's made out of good American cast. Well, you seen me move them coals off the top because that top is done, folks. You've heard me say so many times, when you see that separation on the outside edge, that bottom is near done. But folks, we're talking about something about 4.5 inches thick here. You see me use that knife and pull around there where I could see down in there. That's where I knew it was feeling a little doughy, and them edges ain't browned all the way around. You can do this with a fork or a knife, just peek a little and you can see what's happening. Well, folks, we got her over here and it feels firm to the touch, it does. You seen me score it all around there. I really think we can probably pull this tin can measuring cup out of there. Looky there. Whew, that was hot. You need heavy equipment to come in and take the crane and reach down in here. Woo, looky there.
Oh my gosh!
And it's hot on my hand, so we're gonna put it right there. Kent Rollins has went and took a creation to the new level and
Honestly, I didn't know what that was going to look like.
Oh, I mean, look at this here, folks. Get you a big old hunk of butter ready to slap on this rascal because you're going to need it. I'm going to let it cool just a minute so it'll cut just a tad better because that thing is hot. Get you a serrated knife blade of some kind to cut this because you just don't want to mash down through it. So we're going to cut it right there, and oh, it cuts so good it does. And I'm thinking I might could eat about that much. Look at there. What comes next? Real butter.
You gotta floss.
How you floss?
That's the kind of. We'll work on it.
Folks, I wish y'all was here or we had some smell-o-vision. That aroma that them onions got sauteed in there and put in there give out such a great and wonderful smell, but also a great taste. You put that garlic and that poppy seed and that minced onion on top. This is fine dining all in its own. Shane gonna have you a link right up there above for our favorite soups from last week, remember them? Now folks, you could have cooked this in a 12 and you wouldn't have had to done all that heat management that you seen me doing out there, pulling coals away, adding coals, taking off the top of the lid and everything else. Would have been a whole lot easier and a whole lot quicker. But I wanted to show you that it could be done, and if you pay attention, that Dutch oven will always tell you when something is done, and this is worth the effort it took to make, I promise you that. Well, folks, we want to thank y'all for stopping by camp today, and oh, what a glorious day it was above the grass. And remember, as always, I take my hat off and I tip it to all the servicemen and women who have kept Old Glory flying above that wagon free and clear today. Remember, hit the subscribe button, share the video and the food with your friends and neighbors because the world needs a lot more good neighbors. See you down the trail. And then we got to do the floss dance today. You got to show me how. Okay?
Okay.
This is your recipe that you created, so who better to finish it than the boss?
Well, I'm
Wait a minute, pause.
What was it?
Looked like a booger. We're going to have to start over because I'm sure somebody's going to see it. Ready?
Really? Is it that bad?
Well,
What,
it's
is it
white.
still on?
It's
Well, it's probably dough.